Thank you so much, Basil. Tonight, we're joined by Henry Miller and Yvonne Charlton, who's going to talk to us about the Civil Aviation Authority Bahamas. I want to say to both of you, welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So glad to have you here. Now, the CAB, or the authority, is responsible for all aviation matters in the country, including the regulation of all things related to drones. And I think we want to talk a little bit about that and what that authority looks like.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so, well, the authority, we're pretty much the regulatory body for, like you said, all things aviation. Our main focus for this department is pretty much making sure that all the drones are in regulatory compliance, making sure that they adhere to all of the rules and the regulations of the air, and to make sure safety really is our main key. That's paramount for us.
Of course, that's very important. We're seeing more and more people buying and using drones. And of course, during the holiday period, we see more businesses using drones for their promo shoots. What's important as far as the safety and compliance of those things as we see more and more businesses get the drone use up, especially during the holidays?
Okay, so, well, in reference to companies using drones, like you said, safety obviously is paramount. Our main goal is to make sure that they adhere to the regulations, so make sure that you don't fly over 400 feet. If you have to fly, so using, for example, if you have jump canoe and New Year celebrations and that sort of stuff.
And we see lots of footage at that point in time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
You need special permission for those things to fly over crowds of people.
Okay.
So that sort of stuff. We just want to make sure that you remain in compliance, because once you're flying over people, that can become a safety hazard.
Understood. Are there any regulations, because we're seeing in the U.S., we're seeing in Canada, we're seeing in China, the regulations are changing. Are we expecting any changes to give greater oversight of the drone industry in the Bahamas?
Yes, we are. We're in the process of changing our regulations now to kind of get, like I said, also to more towards safety.
Right.
So that's really our biggest thing, to make sure that, that they're adhering to the regulations and, making sure that everybody stays in compliance.
Stays in compliance.
Right.
Now, I want to ask you, we're seeing more and more people buy drones as Christmas gifts as they become more accessible and more affordable. Is there any advice you can give to those who are purchasing drones for others in terms of making sure that they're in compliance as well?
Well, the advice I would give to anyone that's purchasing drones is to ensure that once you do purchase this device and this flying unmanned aircraft,
yes,
is to ensure that it's registered first.
Most important.
Yes, we have to make sure that the drones are registered, and you can do this by registering on the Civil Aviation Authority Bahamas' website, which would be this www.caabahamas.com. Okay. Once that is done, we ask you for all the particulars of your drones, depending on the complexity of what you're going to be using your drone for. Maybe if it's a gift for recreational use or commercial use, we'll advise you what additional things would be required from you.
I would imagine there are more requirements for those who plan on using it for commercial use versus recreational use as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we do have applicants that do apply for recreational or commercial, and they're unsure of what they're actually applying for. So just to give a little brief insight on both aspects, the recreational is exactly what it is. Hobby use.
Hobbies.
So if you are a hobbyist, using it for personal enjoyment, you may have a birthday party, you want to do your nice photos,
right.
You want to take photos of your yard space for personal, anything dealing with personal use, personal leisure, that is recreational.
Okay.
Now, commercial is a bit more vast. So commercial use, we require more information from you, as well as you are required to have more training.
That's an interesting part of it too, yes.
Qualifications, that is mandatory. So persons dealing with aerial photography, surveillance, agricultural aspects also, you are required to have a bit more as compared to recreational use.
I'm just curious, are you finding that a lot of people are coming in and following the right process, getting their certifications and getting their certificates for their drones?
Absolutely. And
that's
even
good to hear.
Even if they're not sure, they would call and find out, or they will send an email. But we do find there is a large influx of persons utilizing the platform.
Do you have any idea of what that number may be, of the number of drone users in the country? I'm sure it's expanded over the years. Might be a large number now.
In the space of a year, we've noticed about a 30% increase.
30% increase. Mm-hmm. That's massive.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it continues to grow.
It is.
What about the use of drones for those who are recreationally flying? What's the most important thing, is apart from getting registered, getting certified, after that in terms of their usage to be safe?
The most important thing is, like you said, safety. That is the most important thing, staying within the radius of the airport's space. That's most and first and foremost,
Yes.
the most safest thing you can do, because there are other aircrafts there. A lot of
Absolutely.
persons are not aware. You can't be in the airport's proximity. Just flying below the actual
400.
The limit.
400 feet.
Most of the devices
You
today
know.
tell you what that limit is to begin with.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Make sure
exactly.
that your drone is geofenced.
Yes.
All these things are mandatory.
Well, staying away from private properties
Properties.
unless you have permission. Obviously.
Permission, right.
Very
And
important
even
stuff.
if you do plan, for instance, if you want to be at the hotels and you want to have some nice shoots, you know, you would need permission from the necessary personnel. So once you do have that, provide that to us, we can grant that to you.
And just quickly, if I want to ask you, how long does that process, for recreational use, maybe commercial use, how long does it take to get certified and to get your certificate?
Well, commercial is a bit different from recreational. So commercial, I would say about a week's time. Once
very
we have
quick,
all the information that we do need, the insurance and all the additional information we need from you, you know, your passport information, all the regular documents we would also need, your qualifications.
Yes.
That's mandatory. The license is very much mandatory for commercial. So recreational takes a little less time, maybe 2 days
Very
maximum.
fast. Very fast, yeah.
Maybe 5 days the most, depending on the process you selected.
Okay.
There is a fast-paced selection, which you can get within 2 business days, and then there is a standard selection processing, which takes up about 5 days.
Incredibly quick.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all the information and for joining us. I'd love to have you again to dig a bit more into the drone industry, which is, I know, it's just booming.
It is.
But thank you so much for
It
coming
is
on the
growing.
show.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime.